Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because today we are diving deep into the real-world stakes of the Factory Act of 1948. Specifically, we're going to unpack Chapter 9, Special Provisions, Part 2, covering Sections 88 right through to 91A in detail. We're going to look at the chaotic, immediate aftermath of workplace accidents, the intense legal powers deployed to investigate them, and the sweeping occupational surveys used to prevent them from ever happening in the first place. It is a really fascinating look at how industrial safety law actually functions on the ground. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We have a 5-part journey today. First, reporting accidents and dangers. Second, mandating disease notifications. Third, investigating accidents and diseases. Fourth, the power to take samples. And finally, occupational health surveys.
Let's start right at the beginning with Section 1, Reporting Accidents and Dangers, the immediate aftermath.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer speed at which things have to happen. Imagine you're a factory manager. The moment an accident occurs on the floor, the clock starts ticking instantly under Section 88. You can't just sit back and wait to see how things pan out. If an accident causes bodily injury and a worker is prevented from working for 48 hours or more, bam! Official notice to the authorities is triggered. And if the accident tragically causes a fatality, the authorities, specifically the inspector, face a strict, unyielding 1-month deadline from receiving that notice to actually conduct an inquiry. Time is literally of the essence for everyone involved.
But there's a subtle but absolutely crucial difference in the law that we need to clarify here. Section 88 deals with accidents, where notice is required if there's a death or 48+ hours was missed work. But Section 88A introduces something called dangerous occurrences. Now, for these prescribed dangerous occurrences, notice is required immediately. And get this, that's whether there is bodily injury or disability or not. That means close calls and near misses are treated with extreme legal seriousness. You can't just brush a close call under the rug. The authorities want to know about it right away.
Moving on to Section 2, mandating disease notifications, the doctor's duty. With Section 89, the law shifts the legal spotlight firmly onto medical practitioners and their obligations regarding occupational illnesses, which are known as third schedule diseases. Here is the exact reporting pipeline they have to follow. Step 1, the doctor attends to a patient who works or has worked in a factory. Step 2, if they even suspect the patient is suffering from a disease specified in the third schedule, they must send a written report without delay to the chief inspector. That report has to contain the patient's name, address, the suspected disease, and the factory address. Step 3, that diagnosis gets confirmed by a certifying surgeon. And finally, Step 4, the practitioner receives a prescribed fee for their report. But actually, here's the really fascinating part. That fee is recovered from the factory occupier as an arrears of land revenue. Basically, that means it's collected with the strict, inescapable force of an unpaid government tax. Ultimately, the factory pays the bill for the diagnosis. So what happens if a doctor just doesn't do it? Well, 1,000 represents the consequence of inaction. Under Section 89, subsection 4, a fine of up to 1,000 rupees can be levied against any medical practitioner who fails to comply with these reporting provisions. It's a strict duty, not just a friendly suggestion. Also, it's definitely worth noting here that the central government has the power to add to or alter the list of third schedule diseases at any time, simply by notification in the official gazette. The law is essentially designed to adapt swiftly to new, emerging occupational health threats.
All right, Section 3, investigating accidents and diseases, the legal inquiry. So the crucial point is what happens when notices of severe accidents or diseases actually come in under Section 90. The state government steps in and appoints a competent person to investigate. And this appointed inquirer carries immense legal weight. They aren't just popping in to ask a few casual questions. They possess the powers of a civil court. They can legally enforce witness attendance, they can compel the production of documents, and they exercise an inspector's powers. Furthermore, anyone required to furnish information to them is legally bound to do so under Section 176 of the Indian Penal Code, meaning withholding information from them is a literal crime. This isn't just a site visit, folks. It's a full-blown, incredibly powerful legal proceeding. Once the investigation wraps up, the inquirer must submit a comprehensive report detailing the causes, diseases, and all the attendant circumstances to the state government. And here's where transparency comes into play. The state government holds the power to publish that report or any extracts from it publicly if they see fit. The state government also makes the rules regulating this entire inquiry procedure, keeping the whole process tightly controlled and structured from start to finish.
Let's move to Section 4, the power to take samples, securing evidence.
This falls under Section 91, and it paints an incredibly vivid micro-narrative. Picture this. An inspector walks into a factory during normal working hours because they suspect a substance is illegal or highly dangerous to the workers. You can almost feel the tension in the room, right? The inspector formally informs the manager of their intent to take a sample. And under subsection 3, the manager is legally obligated to provide all the appliances needed for dividing, sealing, and marking it. Think about the dynamic of that scene for a second. The manager literally has to physically hand over the tools to help build a potential legal case against themselves.
And this brilliantly illustrates the airtight chain of custody required by the law. The sample is divided into 3 precise portions right there in front of the manager, who can even add their own seal to it. Portion 1 goes to the occupier or manager, kept right there by the factory. Portion 2 is sent forthwith to a government analyst to be analyzed for an official report. And Portion 3 is retained by the inspector to give to the court for any subsequent legal proceedings. This strict 3-part division ensures the evidence is completely undeniably secure. And why is that so important? Because any document containing the government analyst's final report on that second portion can be used directly as legal evidence in court proceedings instituted against the factory regarding that substance. That little sample, effectively divided and sealed, transforms directly into binding legal evidence.
Let's move to and see how this builds. All of this reactive procedure brings us to a major question. How does the law prevent these hazards proactively? We've talked a lot about reacting to accidents, reacting to diseases, and reacting to dangerous substances. Now let's look at the proactive measures found in Section 91A.
Section 5, Occupational Health Surveys, Proactive Enforcement.
This is Section 91A of the Act, and it is where the law truly shifts gears. Instead of waiting around for an accident to happen, high-level authorities step in to conduct sweeping health and safety surveys. We're talking about the absolute heavy hitters of industrial safety here: the chief inspector, the director general of factory advice service and labor institutes, or the director general of health services to the government of India. They, or officers authorized by them, can initiate these surveys at any time during normal working hours, simply after giving written notice to the occupier or manager.
When these surveys happen, there is absolute compliance required from everyone involved. The factory manager must afford all facilities for the examination and testing of plant machinery and sample collection. Furthermore, every single worker must, if required, present themselves to undergo medical examinations and furnish all relevant information they possess. Everyone on the floor, from top management all the way to the newest hire, must participate to make these proactive surveys effective.
Now, I really want to draw your attention to a specific phrase from Section 91A. The time spent by a worker undergoing these medical exams or furnishing info is, and I quote, deemed to be time during which such worker worked in the factory. Why does this exact phrasing matter so immensely? Because it means workers are guaranteed their normal wages and even overtime pay for the time they spend in these exams. They don't lose a single dime for participating in workplace safety. It empowers them to comply without any fear of lost wages. Finally, what happens to all that data from these health surveys? Well, the final survey report submitted to the state government is treated with the exact same legal weight as a standard inspector's report under the Act. These are not just helpful suggestions or little recommendations. The findings from these proactive surveys carry real, enforceable regulatory teeth that the factory must abide by. Which leaves us with this final provocative question to consider. Does a 1,000 rupee fine for a medical practitioner hold enough weight in today's economy? Or is the true power of Chapter 9 actually found in its sweeping, proactive safety surveys? This 1948 law created a really fascinating balance of reactive fines, strict evidence protocols, and powerful proactive health mandates. I hope this explainer gave you a clear, structured understanding of exactly how these special provisions function. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and keep exploring the incredible frameworks that govern our industrial world.